Hi guys, welcome to the premiere. Yes, we're going straight in it. So yes, I'm not live. With a bit of luck, I'm in the comments typing away, but I could also be asleep and I apologise. I've had a tough day and I've just been hit with complete and utter exhaustion, and I'm thinking that's to do with the vaccination. Anyway, I've got some news for you, so we'll have a bit of a chat. So I've got some categories to cover tonight. And so this is pre-recorded, and so I hope you're doing well. So first of all, if you've been following my car saga, the car was at the mechanics. Nothing happened. It was perfectly fine. Mechanic said, not a problem. I drove it away, about 5 k's away from the mechanics. It just dies. And I ring the mechanic and he goes, I said, hello. I said, it's Joanne Cochran. You're not going to believe this. And he goes, no way. And I go, yes. So 2 of his mechanics came down in a car. They chucked in a computer sensor thingo. Yep, it was a sensor. They worked it out. So one goes, you get into the car so you can get back there. I'll take this car, and then if it stops, we'll get it started again. Anyway, my car stopped again, this time for the mechanic. And so what happened was that he got stuck. The other mechanic, I got dropped off. They worked out what it was, got the part. They ended up taking the part to the car and fixing it on the street because it was quicker than trying to get the car back to the garage to do it all. So yes, it was a bit of a mess. But anyway, $145 later, it was done. So it actually seems to be feeling a bit smoother to run, and so obviously it's been churning away for a while. That was interesting. So let's talk about the first update for you, Melissa Caddick. Now, I had a bit of a dilemma today because I checked the listings at the federal court. Melissa Caddick and Ben Roberts-Smith were on at the same time in different courts, and I couldn't actually be in both court cases, be watching both court cases. I really wanted to. And then, of course, we had Katie Joy going off as well. So I couldn't be there. I couldn't do everything at once. So here's the background on Melissa Caddick. So the hearings, it started today. So she left investors. They've discovered that she's left investors nearly $24 million out of pocket. So the court heard Miss Caddick's business was the front for a Ponzi scheme. She convinced 72 investors to provide her with $32 million, and she vanished the day after ASIC raided her home. So if you remember, that's what happened. So she's been missing since November 12th, 2020, and they found a decomposed foot that was washed up on the beach, and that's all that's been found of her so far. So after the hearing on Tuesday, to recoup some of the money Miss Caddick's clients are owed, the barrister for ASIC, Farid Assad SC, said her financial services business, Malaval, was successful and clients extolled her virtues. She built up a sizable and loyal client base and befitting of a successful businesswoman with the trappings of wealth, real estate in Sydney's eastern suburbs, luxury motor vehicles, designer clothing and jewelry. It was all a facade, so we know that. So it continued for 8 years. So she would transfer funds into her account and later into her alter ego, Malaviva. So she was using her own clients' money for investments and shares, which she misappropriated. So we've been following the case. We saw the court documents filed. She would convince some clients that she'd established a ComSec account on their behalf, and to maintain the deception, she sent investors fictitious portfolio valuations. ASIC's managed to obtain many of the hundreds of pages of these fictitious portfolios. Some of the money has been returned, but there is a deficiency of between $15 million to $23.7 million. Wowzers. The Justice Bridget Markovic said it would take a speed reader 4 weeks to get to read through all the documentation. There's also a warrant that remains for her arrest because she has breached 38 there's been 38 breaches of Corporation Act. And the 2-day hearing continues in Sydney. Now, I'm just going to pull up the federal court side because there was a affidavit filed by her partner, her husband, and this was to try. Remember, there is all this stuff at the moment about the properties, about the house, whether the house should be sold to recoup the losses, and they're saying, well, the house is needed. So here is the redacted affidavit of her husband. This makes for some interesting reading because I have some thoughts about this too. So let's look at this. Okay. So this airs from the 18th of June. So it's Anthony Marcus Rodo-Kelly, and he's a hairdresser. So if you remember, he gave up hairdressing when COVID hit. So he was highly reliant on her money. And I think this becomes pivotal to this affidavit. So he actually wrote this. This was dated the 8th of December, which is really interesting, but it's just been filed into court. It's got the date of the 18th of the 6th, which is really interesting. So that's when it was filed. But it was signed in December. So I am the husband of the first defendant. I make this affidavit in relation to the orders made by the Honourable Justice Jager on the 10th of November 2020, by which inter alia the first defendant's asset became the subject of asset preservation orders made under sections 1323, 1 and 3 of the Corporations Act 2001, and the application by Mr. Adam Grimley on behalf of the first defendant to vary the asset preservation orders in relation to the amount of and access to funds for the extraordinary living expenses of the first defendant's household and dependents and for legal expenses, and to seek access to certain of the books and records of the first defendant. Yeah, that's making sense. I make this affidavit for my own knowledge, except where otherwise stated. Where I refer to matters of information, I believe the information to be true. Now exhibited before me marked AMRK1 is a bundle of documents which I refer to in this affidavit. I reside at the property, and that's redacted. The first defendant has been missing since around 5:30 a.m. on the 12th of November 2020. I've not received any communication from the first defendant since then. I refer to the enduring power of attorney of the first defendant dated 15th of September 2016, which Mr. Grimley is appointed the attorney of the first defendant. So there's a whole pile of stuff redacted. I was last employed on a part-time basis as a hairdresser until COVID-19 lockdown commenced in or about late March 2020. At that time, the first defendant, who was the primary breadwinner in our family, and I had discussions and agreed that in order to reduce the house risk to the family, I would cease working and remain at home. And, redacted, as a result, I do not earn an income. My living expenses and that of our household at the Dover Heights property are paid by the first defendant. I have no assets. I have one bank account, a Smart Access account at Commonwealth Bank of Australia. That bank account has a balance of $1.95 as of the 4th of December 2020. I refer to the bank statement dated 6th of December from the period of 9th of November to the 4th of December, a screenshot taken at 12:58 on the 6th of December 2020. I believe that other than the bank accounts and assets which are subject of the asset preservation order, there are no assets or funds which can be immediately applied to meet the living expenses, save that redacted. There is a property at Aspen, Colorado in the US that our family visit from time to time. I believe it is owned by the first defendant. I do not know the details of its ownership. I further believe that the property does not generate income and is not tenanted when it is not used by the first defendant. I'm the sole director and shareholder of a company, Paws Off Productions Proprietary Limited. Currently, the company is not deriving any income or has no assets. I am concerned that if the immediate living expenses that would otherwise be paid by the first defendant are not paid, redacted, will not be able to return to his current school year to commence his Year 10 studies. Insurance and security will not be able to be maintained in relation to first defendant's assets, and basic utilities attached to Dover Heights property may not be paid and may be cut off, and basic health and food requirements will be jeopardised. I'm informed by Mr. Grimley and believe that the loan repayments in relation to the Dover Heights property have been paid for a period up to March 2021. Access to further funds may be required from this at this time to pay liability to National Australia Bank. So that was dated December. Now, what is really interesting? So so they've taken out all the information. So as I said, it's redacted. So there's $1.95. So what do you reckon about that? So I find it interesting that they've resubmitted that to the court, because I remember reading that before. So that was filed on the 18th of June, published on 25th of June. So what are you thinking? Do you think? So remember, and also remember that her parents' house is also under preservation order. Her parents have put a caveat on the property. ASIC's put a caveat on the property, so nobody can sell any of the properties without the other party. And if I remember rightly, and I'm going back in my little memory bank here, he was wanting about $1,900. Was it a week to live? It was a high amount of money that they wanted to live off. So that court case is finally happening. So as I said, at the moment, there's between 15 and 23 million that they need to recover, and that might be the value of the properties. So, but there's still a warrant out for her arrest. No one's seen or heard it. Yeah. So tell me what you think about that. All of that goings on. So that's the latest court filing. So Ben Robert Smith, the Victorian Cross recipient, his case has been postponed for 2 months due to COVID, so that's been adjourned. And I think the reason for that is that there are just so many witnesses that they've got to maneuver through and go through, and it's just sort of a bit of a nightmare, I guess. The other interesting thing is our good mate Barnaby Joyce. The Deputy Prime Minister. He's got himself in a little bit of strifey. He has been fined for breaching health directives from the Chief Health Officer. Let's have a look. I find it quite amusing, actually. Barnaby Joyce fined $200 for not wearing a mask in breach of COVID health orders. The Deputy Prime Minister, mind you. The Deputy Prime Minister. So he apparently, this story goes, he was filling up his car with petrol, went into a petrol station to pay, and he wasn't wearing a mask. Somebody saw that he went to pay without wearing a mask, rang Crime Stoppers, who went to check it out, and they checked the CCTV footage and he was gone. He was fined. So he was issued with a $200 fine. Deputy Police Commissioner Gary Warboys said the fine was an example of police following up on tips made by the public. The person was apologetic and cooperated with the police being firm and fair. So I guess, they go in and talk about the sexual harassment claims and everything. But what I find to be it's very interesting that as a Deputy Prime Minister that you would even consider not wearing that you would even not be seen wearing a mask. So I don't know. But anyway, he's been done for that. So what do you think about that? It's a really good example, isn't it? The other issue is there was something that was announced by the Prime Minister yesterday that everyone is saying wasn't actually came out of the National Cabinet. And I'm just going to try and find that for you. Here we go. This is from The Guardian. So the Prime Minister made an announcement last night, but the Australia's top medical body refuses to endorse that the under 40s can get AstraZeneca. So AMA says Scott Morrison's announcement from the younger people getting the AstraZeneca COVID jabs goes against advice from the vaccine safety body. So from what the premiers are saying, they discussed at National Council. So somebody has come out and said, we're going to make AstraZeneca available. But nobody has actually spoken, it would seem, according to all the health experts, that they're still saying it's safe. He does not, the Australian Medical Association's president does not endorse the present Prime Minister's announcement that anyone under 40 can receive the vaccine from their GP. And it took him from surprise. The advice from the Independent Australian Technical Advisory Group on Immunisation that Pfizer is the preferred vaccine for under 60s due to an increased risk of rare clotting events linked to the AstraZeneca jab is unchanged. Despite this, Scott Morrison on Monday night encouraged under 60s to go have a discussion with your GP. It took us by surprise. It's hard to know how to take the announcement because I think it's going to be a limited number of people to take it up, given that they would be going against the expert ATAGI recommendation. Now, I know that Victoria has said to everyone not to rush to their GPs. They were seeking further advice. So asked why he thought the government had made the announcement without informing the AMA, given that doctors will now be responsible for administering the AstraZeneca vaccine to under 60s who want it, and leading discussions about the risk. The president said, my guess is that they are wanting to provide nervous Australians who are going into lockdown this week with something that they can actually do to improve their chances of getting through this and push the nation's vaccination program forward. We do have surplus doses that are currently not being used, so there is some capacity to bump up delivery. Of course, if Delta really does ingrain itself in our community and the lockdowns aren't successful or they're too slow, then speeding up the vaccination program by using more options is on the table is wise. The problem, of course, unfortunately, is that for the Delta virus, you need to get both doses to get reasonable protection against Delta, and for AstraZeneca, that's a minimum of 8 weeks apart. So they'd be extending the new Medicare item. So that means that, because it's it's free to everybody. I've spoken to the Chief Medical Officer and I understand he's going to get some advice out as soon as it is written to the GPs. So everyone's a little bit nervous. And the other thing is because GPs are really nervous because they don't want to be giving out something that has a risk to people under 60s and then getting stuck with, being sued. So the Prime Minister has announced that they will cover indemnity insurance for the GPs. So there are some vaccination clinics that have been offering AstraZeneca to those under 60s who want it. So as long as they understand the risk, even before the Prime Minister's press conference because of the excess supply and patients saying they just wanted to be vaccinated, given the risk of rare clotting is low. Victoria's Health Minister, Martin Foley, said those aged 18 to 39 needed to be patient if they decide to take the AstraZeneca vaccine through their GP. This follows reports from GPs that they were unprepared for the announcement. There is a degree of confusion out there with GPs, and we seek to roll this out, Foley said. As soon as we get all the information and clarification from the Commonwealth, we will implement the system as quickly and as smoothly and as possible as we can. So what seems to have happened? What seems to be the case, and because they had all the state leaders there. So if it was discussed at the national leaders thing, that they would have all known about it and they would have started preparing people. But I'm getting the impression that nobody knew about it, and it's what we would call a captain's call. A captain call, meaning that he's just made the decision, or someone told him you could do X, Y, Z, and he's just gone and done it, which is very unhelpful considering everybody is nervous for tomorrow. So, yeah. So the next thing on the agenda, I know I'm going through these. I hope you're enjoying this. As I said, typing and chatting away. You can still do all the YouTubey thingies. You can still like and subscribe and, whatever. All right, let's get on to Kristo. So he faces court tomorrow. So Xenophon Davis, the law firm, has stated this in court tomorrow at this time at the Downing Centre. In court tomorrow at the Downing Centre to lift the restriction on Kristo passing by Parliament House. It is the people's house and no one should be excluded from being outside of it. And it's the only way Kristo can get to music school down the road. Free Kristo. So this is... no one should be not excluded. My head hurt. Do typo. Giovanni Braz Barillaro parody. I demand justice. So tomorrow, Kristo is back at court. This time they want the order of his not being able to be 100 metres from where Braz works. So at the moment, he's not allowed within 100 metres from where Braz works. Parliament House. So their argument is that Parliament House is actually the people's house. And that is the only way that Kristo can get to the Conservatorium of Music. And that to get to the Conservatorium of Music, he has to pass by that way. And then it's ridiculous. And they're right. It's the people's house. It's the people's house. But remember, Braz is a public servant. He's a servant of the people. And we get to this argument about politicians and public servants. I mean, they should be available to the people, shouldn't they? How can they have orders and stuff about, not going near people if they're public, they're people of the public? So anyway, tell me what you think about those. So I wanted to have a look. I wanted to show you something. So the Criminal Defence Lawyers Australia has put together a bit of a background brief as to the charges. And they've also gone and talked about what it is that has to be proven. So let's have a look at this. So this is lexicology.com from their library. So criminal defence lawyers. So it talks about 21-year-old producer for YouTube comedian FriendlyJorides has been charged with allegedly stalking and intimidating New South Wales Deputy Premier John Barilaro. Talks about his arrest. They subsequently charged him with 2 counts of stalk or intimidate intending to cause fear or physical mental harm. The arrest and unit used has caused widespread outrage. The Fixated Persons Unit, established after the Link Cafe siege, claims to focus on lone actors who are at risk of partaking in grievance-fueled violence. It's aimed to target those who show the warning signs of extremeness but have not reached a threshold at which they would be addressed by the Counter-Terrorism Command. This is a gross misappropriation of what the Fixated Persons Unit was set up for and bends the definition of stalking beyond its intended purpose, commented former federal agent working in counter-terrorism Caddick Ryan. The arrest comes after a feud between the parties, with Barilaro launching legal action against Jordan Shanks, known as FriendlyJorides, for allegedly defamatory videos. The current case before the federal court centres on videos accusing Barilaro of corruption, which his legal team has branded vile and racist. New South Wales Police have stated the first of the alleged offences concerning Mr. Langker occurred on the 19th of April at Macquarie University, where Barilaro was speaking. The incidents were showcased in a video posted on the FriendlyJorides YouTube channel named Braz Eternal. So it goes into that one. The second event occurred on Sydney on the 4th of June, the same day Mr. Langker was arrested. The interaction was also filmed, with Langker allegedly spotting Barilaro or walking to his university in the city. He walks up to Barilaro, getting in his car, saying, "Oi, John, you're suing my boss." Lawyers for Mr. Langker said they were highly disturbed by the misinformation that police appear to have acted on. We have the video of the interaction with the Deputy Premier, and it does not appear to accord with the police facts, they claimed in the media statement. The incident has caused widespread outrage, with politicians and journalists concerned at its implications for the right to hold our representatives to account. There are many journalists across Australia who will be in trouble if this is grounds for arrest. The implications for free speech and civil liberties are extremely disturbing, commented New South Wales State Member for Murray Helen Dalton. Regardless of your political affiliations, we should be very disturbed when governments try to silence dissent, she continued. Langker's lawyers have labelled his imposed bail conditions as bizarre, as they include that he's unable to possess or share images of character true as a barrel arrow and unable to comment on his personal behaviour. The Chaser's Dom Knight commented, "It might have been difficult to make the Chaser shows, given this interpretation of the law. We went up to certain politicians an awful lot of times. I don't know how many times we interrupted John Howard's morning walk, but it must have been well into the double figures." Throughout Howard's term in Parliament, antics by the Chaser, including trying to greet the then Prime Minister with a fake axe and switched-on chainsaw. So pursuant to Section 13 of the Crimes, Domestic and Personal Violence Act 2007, it is offence to stalk or intimidate another person with the intent of causing the other person to fear physical or mental harm. The maximum penalty is imprisonment for 5 years or a $5,500 fine. A person intends to cause fear of physical or mental harm if they know that the conduct is likely to cause fear in the other person. Notably, the prosecution is not required to prove that the person alleged to have been stalked or intimidated actually feared physical or mental harm. Isn't that interesting? Pursuant to Section 7 of the Act, intimidation means conduct, including cyberbullying, amounting to harassment or molestation of the person, an approach made to the person by any means, including telephone, text messaging, emailing, and other technology-assisted means, that causes the person to fear for their safety, or any conduct that causes a reasonable apprehension of injury to a person or to a person with whom they have a domestic relationship, or violence or damage to any personal property. Pursuant to Section 8, the act of stalking means following the person about, the watching or frequently of the vicinity of or an approach to a person's place of residence, business or work, or any place that person frequents for the purposes of any social or leisure activity, contacting or otherwise approaching the person using the internet or other technological assisted means. In some cases, some threats may have only been seen as bluster, not amounting to intimidation. Kelly versus R 2007. So it says, click here for an outline on the defences to stalk of charging. So this was written by Poppy Moradin, criminal defence lawyer. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the defences that could be used for this. And I hope that this is going to be really helpful. So, complete guide on assault charges, penalties and defences. So what constitutes assault? Serious assault, the lowest form of assault. There's aggravated assault, bar fight assaults, assault charges for first offences, non-physical and physical assault charges, verbal assault. So aggravated assault, so we're not at aggravated assault. Common assault, we don't have common assault. Right, here we are. Stalk or intimidate charges. Intimidate is considered conduct that constitutes harassment, molestation, approaching someone via telephone, text message, email, or other form of technology that causes fear of safety or behaviour that causes a reasonable apprehension of injury or violence to a person or damage to a person's property. Words or actions can amount to intimidation. The law recognises that some instances of threat may only be seen as bluster, not amounting to intimidation. Stalking is conduct such as following a person or watching frequently the vicinity of or approach to a person's home, work or business, or any place the alleged victim frequents for social or leisure activity. In determining whether the current alleged conduct amounts to intimidation or stalking, the judge or magistrate can take into account any pattern of past violence. So what the police must prove, okay, so this is what must be proven. You'll be guilty of stalking or intimidation if the prosecution can prove each of the following elements beyond reasonable doubt. Your conduct is considered either intimidating or stalking. You either intend to cause fear of physical or mental harm, or you are aware that your conduct is likely to cause such fear in the person. If the prosecution is unable to prove each of the above, your charge will either get dismissed or withdrawn early through the negotiations to save costly legal fees and stresses of going to court. There is no need for police to prove that the alleged victim actually feared physical and mental harm. So your intimidations or stalking charges will be dismissed if self-defense, you responded in a way to protect yourself, either someone or a property, your perpetrator is not you did not realise that the conduct is likely to cause fear to the other person at the time. Under the influence of drug or alcohol, you intoxicated from alcohol or drugs to a level that you weren't able to form the necessary intent or awareness of causing fear in the other person. Mental illness defence, duress or necessity, or citizens' arrest by reasonable force. So to get the stalk to intimidate charge, they have to prove that the conduct was intimidating and stalking, was either intimidating or stalking, and that they intended to cause fear of physical or mental harm. What do you think? So there was another one, wasn't it? No, that was it. Yeah, that one, wasn't it? Yeah. So what do you think at the moment? What's your thoughts? Tell me what you think. If they've got to prove that there was intent and that it was actually stalking. Okay, what do you reckon? Stalk or intimidate? 5 years jail or 5,500 fine or both? Must prove each of the following elements beyond reasonable doubt in court. So you're the jury now. You've seen the video. You followed the case. Can it be proven beyond reasonable doubt that the conduct was considered intimidating or stalking? And can you prove beyond reasonable doubt that it was intended to cause fear or physical or mental harm, or they were aware that the conduct is likely to cause the fear in the person? So let's just assume we get a yes for part one, that it was considered intimidating and stalking. Let's just say we'll say yes, it was. We struggle with part two. I don't believe that there was an intent. I cannot see that there was an intent. The intent was to hand the documents back to Bratz. So count two, in my mind, is So if the prosecution is unable to prove each of the above, your charge will either get dismissed or withdrawn. What do you reckon about that? So that's what I found. I thought that might be interesting for you all to follow along. I'm not going to really talk about Katie Joy, or however, I do think that at the moment, she's threatening to sue everybody and anyone that's done anything or said anything about her. The problem is she's a commentary channel, and she needs to remember that when you're a commentary channel, you're going to say things that people don't like. You're going to talk about people. So remember, everybody has an opinion. Just because someone says something does not mean that it's fact. And some of the people that she's called out on their videos will say, please don't take what I say as fact. These are my opinions. They're obviously doing commentary. No different to what she's doing. So I have some real issues. And yeah, I have some real issues about it. And I'm not concerned for myself. I mean, if she wants to come and, want to say that I've been saying things about her, yeah, I have. But everything that I've called out has been about behaviours that she's done. I don't comment about her. I don't comment about her appearance. I don't comment on her parenting. I don't comment on her marriage. I don't comment on anything personal about her. I comment about how she treats people, how she talks to people. I comment on what she says. I comment on the fact that she'll say something one day and then say something another day and then go back to the first point on another day. It's very confusing. So, yeah, I do talk about her. I do call out the behaviour. But she refers to everybody as haters. I don't hate it. And in fact, I actually get criticised because people think that I'm still being too nice to her. And that's fine. You're allowed, to think that. And I'm okay if you want to think about, if you want to say I'm too nice to her. And maybe I am. But I always believe that everybody's redeemable. It's just something that's just how I've been brought up. I've been brought up that everybody's redeemable, that everybody deserves a second, third, fourth chance, often. That doesn't mean, though, that you become a doormat and you become walked over. That doesn't mean any of that at all. What it means is that you go, yeah, I forgive you, but I need to tell you that this behaviour is wrong. Now, don't forget that she's referred to me as crazy. Now, is that fact or is that opinion? Because if we want to start talking about statements, calling somebody crazy, and there's another couple of issues. First of all, I live in the land down under, and we've got our borders shut. Good luck trying to get in here, unless you are someone with lots of money. Ooh. Yeah, I can't get out. I can't leave the country. A lot of people can't get into the country, but yet the Delta virus has gone in. So, talking about that, most of Australia is now currently locked down. Only South Australia, Victoria, and Tasmania are not locked down. How ironic. Everybody has had goes and goes and goes and goes and goes at Victoria. And yet, we're free. Well, we're not free. We've got restrictions. We have to wear masks. We have limits on how many people we can have. We've got restrictions. South Australia's brought in restrictions because they're trying to just a lot of the states now have got some type of Tasmania, I think, and South Australia both got restrictions in now, trying to get ahead because we know Delta virus is in Australia, and we know that it's going to spread and spread and spread like wildfire. So it's quite horrifying, actually, and quite scary. So, as I said, there's lots of, the whole vaccine thing's been totally and utterly bungled. And I'm just really glad that our state leaders have sort of, except one, most of the state leaders have seemed to be able to have got a handle on it. But I'm also very grateful that there's been no deaths at the moment. I know that there's a couple of people in hospital and they're very far from well. But for the most part, they're doing all right. What I thought I'd do tonight is I thought we'd just watch another funny video. Just end up. I know this is a lot shorter than what I would normally do. But as I said, I'm not feeling. Oh, what I'll show you something else too. So I got some stuff today. I probably still do a video. So there's a video. There's a website called Music Bumblebees, and they sell music stationery. So I got some music stickers today. Some music stickers, woohoo! Music stickers for my planner. Oh, and these ones. So I got those. I also got a little music notebook. Look at that. I love music. And this is for teaching. This is like a portable whiteboard, but it's got all the notes on it, and it's got rhythm and stuff on it. So that's just portable. But I wanted to show you. Oh, I've also got, this was from Stickers by Ashley Kay. Their YouTube, so I can keep track of when I film and upload. Now, I did also have a whole pile of stuff from Plan to Create, but they're already made. So this is my, I've already done most of August. So this is my cover now. Look at it. So those are from Plan to Create. So I just have mixtures of stuff everywhere. So that's my front cover. So we've got Plan to Create. We've got some old stickers here. They're from my sticker packs already had. And I'll put a couple of Bible verses. This one says, if you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking, John 1:5. And this one is, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3:6-7. This says, once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. So I wanted to give myself some reminders about, because this last semester is going to be a tough one. So I've also got this. This was from the Boss Lady thing from Officeworks. It always seems impossible until it's done. So I've put washi on the top there. This one, the theme for this one was Rest and Joy. Rest and Joy are essential. So this one's from the Mahalia fundraiser from GKK. Erin Condren washi tape, which is the school one. This says, come to me, Matthew 11:28-30. That's actually, come to me, all of you who are weak and heavy laden, and I will bring you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am humble in spirit. And I've just forgotten the rest of it. Anyway, and it says, you were born to shine, be authentic. And then there's Plan to Create's little sticker down there with a kitty cat and a coffee. There we go. So there's that one. So most of these are Plan to Create. So some of these are actually I got during the week. So this is the Boss Lady kit. So I put the headers up here. Now, usually what you do is you put the numbers in the top, but I use them differently. So let's just have a quick look here. So I've got the nameplates. So where those numbers are, you would normally put your love heart numbers in there, but I use them for the numbers of the boxes. So I've got my new music notes there. So to tell me that I've got music rehearsal. By the way, the 15th of August is Harrison's birthday, by the way. The 15th of August is Harrison's birthday. And then, so these came in the last purchase here. And here, these to-do boxes. So they've come in this. They've come in this box here, so they're to-do boxes. And again, the pizzas. So that was the Boss Lady kits. And then you'll see that there's work. That's also come from Plan to Create. The treble clef there came from my pack today. It says work, and then that. So that's what I've done there. And again, this is my assignment. So this is an assignment breakdown. So what I've done here is I've put it down in half. So I've done everything I need to do on one side for uni, and then on the other side will be everything I've got to do. And again, I've used those boxes. And then what I've done is, again, to do, and then appointments. So all the appointments and things are on one side, and then everything else is the other. And it says, you are 1 in a million. I wrote that in. That's from Erin Condren. So then there's that one. So this is, we're into August now. So I've put a little one of Plan to Create little stickers on each of these boxes. Again, so I've got a water tracker that I got for my fitness stickers. These are from Erin Condren. These date dots came from my Boss Lady set. So they're pretty cool. I've got the top plan well. You are strong. And again, little coffee from Plan to Create. Then I got these ones. These will be going. This is what I do. So these are date. So these date headers are from Plan to Create. These are from the Officeworks stickers. This one is from Bumblebee Music. This one's from Officeworks. These are from my KKK ones to do. I hope it's zooming in all right. I hope I'm just not wasting my time. And then I've got a payday sticker. Got that from Mum and Me Handmade Designs. And then music. So my work, essentially. And then anything that I will have with music, go there. And this one says, be strong. So I've tried to do, with everything that I've done. So this is nearly all Plan to Create stuff as well. So we've got her date headers here, and we've got her boxes, her to-do boxes. And then I've just got my music notes. This one says, strong women don't have attitudes, we have standards. And then again, that. So I don't know what my timetable is going to be yet, so I can't work out when I'm YouTubing or anything yet. Yes, we're still going. We're still going. So again, more Plan to Create date dots with the boxes and with one of her little icons. Now I've put a trumpet in for Friday because that's when I do the brass lessons. We're nearly done. And then I've just put in music there. See? And there. And I'm just up to that bit. And then because we're going to be entering into spring, I found some spring stickers. So that's my note pages between October and September. And then we hit September. I know. So I've got washi there. I know. I'm nearly done. I've nearly planned September. I found these pet stickers. And so I've used they were long ones. So I used that. And then I had the cat with the ball. And then I've just put paw prints up there. So September, that's all for my pet sticker pack that I had. So September is essentially my pet themed, and it's kitty. See? And there's a kitty cat. And then, so the payday. So again, I haven't gone any further. See, it's empty. It's empty. So that starts in August, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. But as I said, I'm still deciding whether to continue with the dailies, because this is what my dailies are taken on a big turn now. So like that's yesterday and today. And so I've got these little stickers here for YouTube. Just so and I haven't. This is the filming. This isn't getting edited though. And again, I've put where I've got remember, I've put little Bible verses in there just to remind me of things. Make today great. Just to remind me of some encouragement. And I decided that, yes, I would put a little Bible verse on the bottom of each of my daily pages. So I might just keep this so that I can plan the day out. So this can be just the day. But as I said, I haven't decided. So, now I'm going into next week. So I've done up until, my dailies are planned up until, see, I'm still going. This is the 19th of July. This is the 20th of July. So I just sit here and do a couple of pages when I'm recording. And what I decided that I'd also do is I'd also put some motivation. So I've got determined to be me, be kind, remember, be the best. So I've tried to give myself lots of motivation just to keep going. So, and this is, and that is, remember, that's this week. And then this is from Thursday. And my music lessons changed, actually. It's actually Wednesday. I knew that would happen. It's being moved to Wednesday. Of course, you can't take it out, can you? No. So my music lessons moved to Wednesday, not Thursday, but that's Thursday and Friday, the weeklies. Oh, yeah, and the laundry stickers are Plan to Create as well. So I'm still deciding what to do, but I think it's going to be really, really cool. What I've done here is I've used the Boss Lady there. I'm not really necessarily happy with them, but I've done them. But I just, when you have limited amount of money, sometimes you have to make do with what you've got, and they don't work out amazingly. But look, I've made them work. So I just use letters along the side with the dates underneath, and then I had to modify this to fit. But look, it's okay. It will work. It's not amazing. And then that's the August monthly. And yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to do, I don't know that I'll do weekly again. I don't know that I'll have 2 lots of weekly unless I just keep it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. Anyway, I've just been rambling for a bit. So, anyway, if you're still with me and you haven't run away, well, you're doing really, really well. The other thing is I've started up a cash. I'm starting a cash system that I'm working on. I've designed my own. I've started to design my own paperwork so I can. One of the things I don't have is I don't ever have cash or anything built up. So I'm going to try and start putting some money away, and I've been watching some of those cash stuffing stuff. I do have these on my website too, by the way, if you're interested in getting them. And it's I know lots of people don't carry cash anymore, but it's just a folder that you just put something on. I actually have a zip here for Harrison. That's where all his YouTube money's going to go in. And you just labelled them, and I've just printed out. I've just created some labels for savings and stuff, and just trying to put away some money every payday, just so that I can try and get a little bit ahead. Because I'll never make enough. I won't ever cover the full rent as such with the income I get, but I can build it up so that maybe it might take me 2 months. But it's about just trying to get ahead of myself and trying to work out where my money goes. And my card just cost me $145 and I had to borrow it, and that's not fun. So it would be good to be able to say, oh, I need that for my car. Wow, yes, I can do that. Let me just get my envelope out. Can give you cash, or I pay it on card and then put the money in the bank. That's the other thing that I can do as well. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you like this premiere. I've covered a whole pile of different things today. I never got to the funny video, did I? Anyway, so thank you. Yes, please make sure you hit like, subscribe. I'm still trying to get to 2,000 if you could help. Don't forget you can become a member. I want to thank you all and just know that I'm just amazed by this community and it just blows me away. All right, thank you very much. You have a great one, won't you? I can do this. All right, bye.